Hey, what's up you guys? So today we're going to discuss how to find a good realtor. Before I will start this video, my first advice, do not find a realtor from the Zillow.com. Most of the time the system in the Zillow would hand you completely unrelated realtor. Most of the time those guys are beginners. You would just mess up your own house search. Let's waste our time and proceed with this video. The first thing you should do when searching for the realtor is to get a pre-qualification letter from the lender. You have to find a lender first. Look for the good lenders in the market. Don't work with any lender. Don't go to the conventional banks. It's just going to be a waste of time. They will give you higher rates. I would personally advise to go to the mortgage brokers so that they could shop on your behalf and represent your best interest. Now the problem with finding the good realtor is that most of the time, if you would go to any department of real estate in any state, it says that the realtor is supposed to have clients' interest first and then only their own interest. But the problem is realtors do not earn money unless they will sell a real estate. So they have to have their own interest first and then they pretty much have the client's interest. That's what happens in real life. Personally, I had a couple of those kind of people. They sold me houses where they could advise not to buy this specific house, but they were having this scary moment when they could felt that I could just go away and walk away and buy another house. So they decided to buy the house, advised to buy the house. If you know what I'm trying to say, is pretty much you have to double check, triple check if that house is really the best option you could get, and don't trust any realtor on their word on this. Most of the time they would just lie to you. Let's go on with the video. As I said, the first thing you should do is just to get a pre-qualification letter, and then you go find a realtor so that you will not waste anybody's time, including yourself. Now, if you're doing this first time, it's your first home buying or buying a certain home in a certain state for the first time, I would personally go to the people who already purchased, who you know personally, who already purchased some real estate in that specific state, and ask them for referrals first and then for what specifically is good in the agent that they're recommending, how this agent is different from all other agents. I would definitely ask that, and I would try to make a list of these guys and compare them to each other. Sometimes you get a better raise from the agents. There are agents that are charging 1%, but obviously most of the time you pay what you get for. Now the best thing that any realtor could really offer to the seller, best value in my opinion, is honesty, which is very rare nowadays. Personally, I had several situations where I just straightforward said to my clients that I don't advise to buy that specific house that they should choose, and I explained why. Most of the time you would not hear that. You can just test the realtor, send them the couple crappy houses that you know are crappy for the specific reason, and if they will just approve every lead you will send, hey, let's go do an offer, that pretty much means that these realtors are not honest with you, and I would not work with this type of people. Another criteria obviously is how they are responding the phone. Sometimes personally I make sure to call every missed call I get. Sometimes this is not the case, and if you are having a hard time reaching the realtor before you started the purchase, I assure you that you will have even more hard time reaching that guy after finalize your purchase. Trust me, you will have questions after you will close the deal. Also, another thing is, the problem is that the most good realtors, they are pretty packed with their schedule. They have lots of people trying to get a hold of them. You might find a good realtor, but if they are not really into working with you, if you see that they're not following up, you ask a question and then they tell that they will get back to you, or most of the time you can ask them to send you the leads and you don't get nothing, that means that person is not really interested in working with you, and I would just skip to go to the next one. Definitely do not try to use double agent. Sometimes this could be a strategy where you could save money because they would be willing to split their profit with you, or if that's a really good deal, I've seen this happening, they are interested in representing both parties because they can just make more money on commission, and then you are getting a higher chance of getting that deal. But I would definitely not do that, because if God forbid something happens, something wrong with the house, you pretty much end up in very hard situation, because you would probably need to sue for the damages if that's a really big thing, and then the realtor that would be representing the both sides, he would pretty much would not be able to cooperate, because if you don't know, most of the times when you sign a sale contract, there is a clause saying that there should be an arbitration between you guys, between the parties, before they go to the court. And most of the time the arbitration is when the two parties face each other, they have some kind of lawyers representing each other, and if you have a dual agent, that just going to make things much harder. It's just really hard to be independent representing both parties in the transaction. It's just literally impossible. So as I said, there is already a conflict of interests when you cooperate with agent, because if they would not be able to sell anything to you, obviously they're going to stay hungry, they're going to make their money. You have to be really careful on that. And most of the time, the house that you're purchasing is your biggest investment, and you don't want to mess up with your biggest investment, obviously. Make sure to let the agent speak. Don't try to be a good listener. That's really important. Don't try to give them your position, what specifically you're looking for. Ask them questions like, hey, what's your opinion on the market? What do you think where it's heading towards to? Where would you advise to look? Do you have any properties you think they could fit my criteria? Try to get as more information as you can from those guys. And be honest. Tell them that you're interviewing a couple agents. Those guys are one of those agents. Don't try to create an impression that you're working only with them. That will make things even more complicated. I mean, personally, I expect the clients to be honest with me too, because I'm trying to be honest. If you're expecting someone to be honest with you, first thing you have to do, you have to be honest with them. So if you have agent already that you pretty much let you're going to go with this guy, when you're calling a lead yourself, you say you don't want it because you're not sure about the certain lead, you're calling a different agent, you're getting information from them, let them know that you have agent that you're working with. They will set up the right expectations from you. And also another thing is, I've seen this a lot from different buyers. Most of the time people don't feel really comfortable asking the agent to show them a property because they're not sure if they're going to go with that specific property or not. Don't do that, because pretty much agents' work is to show you the property. That's completely okay to ask to show as much properties as you want to before you will proceed. I would also not recommend to go to the websites like Yelp to select the agents, because I don't know if you guys know, but most of the time what Yelp does is sells the leads, and pretty much you will end up with whoever pays for that lead more. I know that people are trying to get the reviews and stuff, but personally I had a Yelp page, I had it deleted because whatever they expect you to pay. Just that's a policy of the Yelp. If you don't pay them, they keep deleting the positive reviews and leave the negative reviews. So most of the time, all the 5-star guys you see, they either have lawyers who send the letters to the Yelp demanding for leverage to be removed, or keeping the Yelp guys on the payroll. Just to make sure, just to go to any lawyer website, just to search any lawyer in any area, most of the time you will end up with all 5 stars, and that's because those guys just know how to delete the bad reviews about them. What I would do, I would go definitely to the Department of Real Estate of whichever state you are in, type in the agent's last name so that it will show the whole history of the agent, what kind of properties he was involved, which brokerages he worked, and if there were any violations, you would pretty much be able to see everything. I mean, I don't want to sound discriminative, but the agents that are not able to use current technology, say like a smart logs, or say the data information websites, online signature thing, I would just not trust them. I had a deal about 3 months ago when the agent didn't know how to use a DocuSign. Obviously it made everybody's life much harder. We ended up in closing in 2 months instead of 1 month, but if he would be able to use the online tech, it will just make things simpler. But you have to realize that the overall process is not really stressful, but the situation you get in when they're selling real estate might seem a little stressful, because you're pretty much moving from one property to another, or you're making a big investment. It's a big beginning, you have to furnish it most of the time if you're trying to make top dollar. By the way, if you're trying to make much more money in your properties, make sure to watch a couple of videos on my channel about that. I'm breaking down how you could make double or triple of the normal income with investment properties. I would also not go with the realtors whose main criteria is that they've been in the business for a while. Like I've seen it a couple times that people saying, hey, I've been 30 years in business, and trust me, literally those guys didn't know how to have the contract get ready for the deal. So that's not one of the cases you should pay attention when selecting a realtor. So I would definitely ask the realtor if they're okay you calling them, because sometimes you might feel that they would not tell you, but you know, people are not okay talking over the phone. Sometimes that happens. Just ask them. Ask them if they are full-time or part-time. You know, ask them if there is a specific reason why they should be, you should be selecting them in the difference from other agents. Ask them if they can get discount for you maybe. Ask them what is the main thing to pay attention to when they're buying the properties. Don't be shy. Just make sure to ask as much questions as you can. Make sure to listen. And if you guys are looking for the properties in California and soon in Florida, I'm licensed realtor too. Make sure to subscribe to my channel and put the thumbs up for this video if I was able to provide value to you. Thank you for watching.